So, how many exactly do we need for false rape allegations to be reported upon before we get to declare false rape allegations to be an epidemic? How do we do that? When do we decide that false rape allegations are an epidemic? I just want to pose the question. Hey everybody, it's Prince of Queens, and I have been, preoccupied with some stuff, so I wanted to tell everybody about this thing that I've been doing for the past couple of years, probably maybe a year and a half, 2 years, which I drastically encourage absolutely everybody to do. Everybody should be doing this everywhere that you can. It will not necessarily make you, quote unquote, popular with your feminist quote unquote friends, but who cares? You don't need them in your life. They're awful. They're liars. They're on the wrong side of history. You should start living your truth and start doing things like this. And one of the easiest ways to combat misinformation in the current year is every time you see on social media a story about a false rape allegation being brought to light, just share it. I have taken to doing this on Facebook. I do it on Twitter sometimes, and I also talk about it on YouTube, obviously. But just say, hey, I always share these stories every time I hear about one. And so over the past year and a half or so, I have come across many of these stories, which, keep in mind, is actually hard to come across on account of the fact that it's basically due to feminist law, the ways in which feminists have put basically gag orders. They've made it very, very difficult for investigators to cross-examine the women that are accusing people of rape and sexual assault. It's become extraordinarily hard to actually investigate these women to see whether or not they are actually lying about it. So due to all of that, it's really, really rare that we ever get to know for certain that women are lying. Feminists will always tell you, of course, that only between 2 and 8% of allegations of rape are actually false, but that actually means that only between 2 and 8% of all rape allegations are proven to be false, and it's basically impossible for anybody to investigate whether or not these allegations hold up to scrutiny in any way. So it's actually an extraordinarily different number if we actually start investigating into it. But of course, even still, probably thanks to the power of social media and the fact that it's a lot easier that people get caught lying because there's logs about, for example, if they were to say that they had no sexual interest in a young man and that he pursued them, well, if they looked at the Facebook records and saw that this young woman was actually pursuing him, then she would be proven to basically be a liar. So more and more of these cases have come out, and yeah, I log them every time just so that we have, at least in my little personal Facebook social sphere and, other places that we can sort of keep track of them, right? And I think that everybody should do that. But how do we know when it's an epidemic? Well, I have to say, I haven't really been searching for these things. I have only really been getting them on my Facebook timeline as a result of other people sharing them, because I do know various people who are into men's rights, and I'm a part of various different MRA type groups on Facebook. And I also know numerous guys who have been falsely accused. So every time these stories come up, I end up sharing them, but I don't actively go searching for them. That's something I haven't been doing. So I decided to, just as a bit of a thought experiment tonight, I was going to go through 2018 so far this year and see how many different stories about false allegations coming to light have been reported upon that have come my way. And granted, I do have well over 1,000 friends on Facebook, but still, how many false allegations have been reported upon and come my way? Or at least stories of women that are getting caught lying. So what I got so far, 2018, is 9 different ones. 9 different women have gotten busted for making stuff up. Now, granted, in a number of these cases, it was not necessarily something that happened in 2018. In one case, I believe it was something that happened a number of years ago, and the guy is just now getting cleared of all of it. And in another instance, it's a woman who made up something like 3 different charges. So you can't just say, oh, it's just 9. It's kind of more complicated than that. You know, if a woman's making up 3 different allegations against guys, well, we don't know how many other ones maybe she made up. You know, and especially considering the fact that there's a gigantic amount of people who aren't getting caught. And all of a sudden, these allegations are coming to light. Now, of course, I couldn't be more proud for studiously thinking about the implications of social media and talking about this in regards to formerly unprovable false allegations, like things like rape. I've long said that one of the major ethical dilemmas that we're going to face in the 21st century, if not the most major ethical shift that's going to come, is that we're going to start treating liars differently. I've made an entire video called Honesty, the Main Ethical Dilemma of the 21st Century, and I think that people should watch that. I think it's one of my best videos, and I think that it was largely ignored at the time because I don't think that people were really thinking about it so much. But I think that what's going to happen more and more is that, you know, once you get on social media, once everybody is on social media, then everybody has to start holding themselves to a very, very high level of honesty, or they're just going to get caught lying. And almost everybody lies. Even I like to say that I don't lie, blah, 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 blah. It's not true. I do find reasons to be dishonest. Sure, if I am gonna be dishonest, it's for a very, very good reason. It's for the greater good, and you can rest assured you probably aren't gonna catch me because that's how personally serious I take honesty. And in particular, as it relates to YouTube land, I don't think you're probably gonna catch me in any lies, because for me, as somebody who does do, I guess, opinion journalism, I have nothing to gain by sitting around lying. I can get people to pay attention to me by telling the truth. And in fact, even though there might be short-term gains by throwing people in under the bus by lying about them, and, you know, that was actually popular earlier this year, even though that might have been the case, it tends not to pan out that when you're on the internet, it's a good idea to lie about people for very long. And, you know, feminists, females who have decided to lie about men, or males even who have decided to lie about other males, I just think that people are going to start to realize that that's a bad idea. It seems fairly obvious to me, and it seemed obvious for a while. But how do we know when false rape allegations and false sexual assault or sexual harassment allegations in particular are becoming a bit of an epidemic? I don't have a good answer for that. I don't have any sort of good, tangible metric that we should all be going by, that we should all be following. Because how do we measure it? I mean, we certainly have the hashtag #MeToo stuff, which is basically a cultural marking point, that it has become completely culturally acceptable to make allegations, and it's actually culturally encouraged. And now that is non-coincidentally, in my book, coinciding with people who are starting to become caught more and more commonly. And that, what predated that was this notion that supposedly women never lie, which couldn't be further from the truth, apparently. So, I don't know. I guess this is going to be one of those videos that's open-ended, and I want you guys to leave it in the comments what you think. Alright, that's all.